Hello, my name is Doucet. During this time of such a pandemic, I thought it would be nice for me to introduce you to my book. It's about the earth. Can you imagine the earth turning round and round, leaning on an axis straight through the ground? Let's take that stroll through with Mother Nature. We're going to have a reading today. And that reading is this book about how important it is for us to save the earth. Can you imagine is a stroll with Mother Nature. And it starts off as, can you imagine as we're walking down the street, there are all sorts of things living underneath. Can you think of all the things underneath the ground where you are right now? Just think of all the things that are moving around in the earth. You have what? Can you guess? Maybe like earthworms and ants. And can you tell me something that you could think of that's under the ground? Let's think about it. How about snakes? There are a lot of things that live beneath us, but we can't see them, but they're there. So, can you imagine the earthworms underground and turning upside down? Can you imagine the roots from plants and trees? We're going to turn over the page. The roots from plants and trees. Can you imagine the earth nourishes all of these? How does the earth nourish the trees and the plants and all the beautiful things that's here on earth? Can you think about it? Water. That's how everything on earth lives, is with water, including us. Think about it, including us. So the next page is, can you imagine the fossils and the stones? Can you imagine prehistoric bones? They became extinct because they couldn't take care of themselves. They couldn't take care of the earth. And you know what? We have to think about those things all the time, about taking care of the earth. It's very important. Can you imagine the earth turning round and round? Can you remember how the earth turns round and round, leaning on an imaginary axis straight through the ground? Can you imagine the flower, the winter, summer, spring? Can you imagine what fall is about to bring? Just think about it. Winter, summer, fall, and spring. Each season on earth does different things for us. For instance, what's going to happen in the spring? It's spring right now. Earth Day is always around spring. So, what is going to happen? The flowers, everything's going to bloom. It's going to be beautiful. All the things on earth comes back alive. Around Earth Day, when there is the new growth of things on earth. Can you imagine what the summer brings? Warm. Boy, would I like for it to be warm right now. It's been kind of cold where I live, but it's really, really nice once it warms up. It's called summer, and we can enjoy that. How about the fall? What happens in the fall? Can you imagine what happens in the fall? The falling leaves. The falling leaves. I remember being down south, and the wind was blowing, and all these leaves just circled around me. It was a beautiful adventure. I really enjoyed it. So the next time you're outside and the wind is blowing, pay attention to all the beautiful leaves. Can you imagine the flowers smelling sweet? Can you imagine them dancing with feet? Oh, there was a cartoon one time where the flowers was just dancing across the ground, and the wind is blowing and the flowers just flow. I think that's dancing using my imagination with flowers. Let's get over to the next page. Can you imagine the wind on your face, knowing it's there but never leaving a trace? You know, sometimes we say, oh, I don't believe it if I don't see it. But we can't see the wind, but it's there. And you know what? That wind across your face, can you feel the breeze? Oh, it feels so nice. And it makes the flowers dance. The wind does other things for us too. Can you think about what the wind does? Oh, I know. What the wind does is clean the air. and the oxygen in the air becomes very, very nice and clean. And then you can breathe. Hello, LA, Los Angeles. I lived there for many, many years. And right now it's beautiful because the air is clean. That's something that we have to work on very hard, is keeping it clean. And also we have to have oxygen. So even the wind kind of helps clean up the oxygen for us. We all need oxygen in order to live, everything on earth. So can you imagine the sun beaming down? Can you imagine your skin turning brown? How does your skin turn brown? Do you know? Yes, because the sun is so warm, it kind of like make us all get some color in us. And including me, although I'm African American, we all brown from the sun. The sun is like the oven, but we have to have it in order for things to grow. We have to have the sun, and it's a beautiful thing when you just feel the warmth. Do you ever go out on the beach? Isn't it nice to lay out in the sun? Yeah, but you have to wear suntan lotion. You always remember that. You have to cover up. But it's such a beautiful thing that earth, all these things are so man can enjoy earth. So can you imagine how many grains of sand? Can you imagine counting it with your hands? You know, how many grains of sand is on the beach? Have you ever stood on the beach and said, wow, how many? One of the children that I was reading to one day in Opelousas, Louisiana, and I was like, how many grains of sand? And they were like, 100, 1,000,000, 1,000. And finally a kid stood up and he said, infinity. Yes, it is. It's infinity. We have no idea how many grains of sand, but it's there for a man to enjoy. Can you imagine being on the beach and it was nothing but rocks? I've done that. It's not comfortable at all. Can you imagine the roaring of the sea? Can you imagine fish running free? They do run free. You know why? They're free to roam the ocean, just like man is free to roam the earth. That is their domain. And they can swim and swim from one side of the world to the other. It's such a beautiful thing when you know that they're even free to roam the earth, like us. So on the next page, let's go over. Can you imagine a rainbow? Can you imagine a rainbow in the sky? Can you imagine why birds do fly? Do you know that rainbow in the sky? Where does it come from? We've been having a lot of rain lately, quite a few weeks, and there were actually a beautiful rainbow. Maybe I'll share it with you at the end of the story so you can see. It was really pretty. I took a picture of it. Can you tell me why birds do fly? Yeah, they have feathers, but if we put feathers all over us, could we fly? Could we? Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. But it's something special about them to be able to fly. Man flies with airplanes with help, but we can't fly like a bird. But I love the idea of watching the birds fly away. Can you imagine a lion in the sky? Can you imagine that clouds do cry? Oh, how do clouds cry? The rain. We were talking about the rain, remember? It makes everything grows. So the clouds in the sky comes and goes. Sometimes they're dark and sometimes they're not. And sometimes the beautiful white clouds shape and make different. Have you ever laid in the grass and looked at the passing clouds? Oh, I seen an actual football team in the clouds when I was on a plane one time. So I'm always making beautiful pictures out of the clouds. Oh, guess what? If you lay there and figure out all the different shapes you see, it is intriguing. You will love it. It's something to do on a day like now. We're in this pandemic, and we can use that just laying out in the yard and watching all the clouds go by. It's really a beautiful thing. Clouds do so much for us also. So always remember that clouds are a wonderful thing. Can you imagine can you imagine the stars in the skies? Can you imagine them as universal spies? All the stars on the planet, all the stars that's over the earth. Yes, those stars are our looking glass. That's how we're seeing. Each one of us have a beautiful star just for us. There's millions and millions and millions of stars in the universe, and it's a beautiful thing. Have you ever laid out at night and stargazed and just look at all the beautiful stars, or see a star flying across the earth? Oh, I love seeing the stars when they're like moving across. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to watch the stars at night. It's beautiful. I love it where I live. Sometimes I just stargaze. The other night we had a whole bunch of stars falling, running across the sky, and we could see them at night. You can't have a lot of light outside when you're looking at the stars. So can you imagine? We got a couple more pages. Can you imagine what you should see? That cloud in the sky looks just like me. Yay! Can you see the clouds in the sky? I think it kind of looks like me for real, right? So can you imagine? Let's get to the last page. Can you imagine? These are very new books, and that's why I'm having a time turning the pages. Now, can you imagine mankind hand in hand? Can you imagine mankind hand in hand? Can you imagine him having the perfect plan? The perfect plan is for us as a human race to come together and save the planet. That's what we have to do. And in this pandemic, it's a good thing. Every commercial, everything says we're in this together. I wrote these books over 25 years ago, talking about the earth and how man should come together and save the planet. It is so important that we all do our part to erase our footprints, our carbon footprints. And each one of us, even though you might be little, say you're 5 or 6, you can still do some things to help the earth. Think about it. Can you help your mom recycle? To go put the things in the recycle bin? When you're on the beach, can you go and pick up anything that someone left over and put it in the trash can? There's so many things that we can do even as little people. Pick up the trash and put it in a trash can when you're on the beach. Have you ever been to a beach? Some people in Middle America maybe have not, but it's really important when you do go, you remember, can you imagine a world of us coming together and doing what we need to save the planet? And we can do that. How can we do that? Let's go over here to Violet Rose. This is my little granddaughter, Violet Rose. And it says, let's come together as a human race and save the planet. I want us all to be that way, that we can think about how important all the things we talked about in the book, about the sun and about the wind and about the earthworms underground. I went from the ground all the way up to the universe, and we should all come together and do that and save the planet. So that commercial that you see playing every day said, let's come together. I think I've been saying it for over 25 years. Let's come together and save the planet. Bye, Violet Rose. See you later. Hope you come and join me for my next book. I have a real special one. Thank you for joining me, and have a blessed day.